What's up, everyone? This is your host, Ghost, coming to you live. Another wonderful video. How's everyone doing today? I'm sorry for being late. I'm exhausted. No easy way to say it. I was just tired. Didn't want to get up, basically. I think this will end up just being the Trump speeches and stuff, and then Vivek, uh, one of the Vivek clips or Vivek. So that's what it's probably gonna end up being. We'll see. I'm gonna watch two Trump speeches. One of course, his victory in Ohio, and then his rally speech in New Hampshire. We're gonna watch both of those, and I think that's probably gonna be the extent of today's video. I'm a little tired. Um, yeah. So I think that's gonna be end up being the extent of the videos today. Which is fine. What can you do? Well, yeah. Um. Anyways, make sure you follow me at official W Ghost on YouTube or on Rumble. So Rumble, or sorry, on X. See, that's how tired I am. I don't even remember which freaking thing I'm supposed to do. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, on X at official W Ghost, rumble.com/with Ghost and gaming with Ghost, of course, and then let's see, twitch.tv slash official with Ghost, and then YouTube, of course, youtube.com/with Ghost. But at the very least, make sure you follow me on the X because that's is the best way to get the links to my various shows and where I stream and everything. Regardless of where you're watching me from, if you could go and go over to Rumble and give me a follow and a like, that would be much appreciated. Speaking of Rumble and likes, I would like to give a round of applause to J Rod 1227. Appreciate the follow. I forgot to give you a shout out yesterday, so I'm doing it now. So yeah, so there we go. Hold on, one more thing before we get to it. All right. So first things first, we're gonna see something else. Reason I want to do the Trump speech. Is that CNN ends up admitting on air that they're going to censor the lead Republican victory speech and will decide what they want the public to know. So let's give a gander and listen to Rachel Maddow.
Sorry, I just have to do a little bit of business just for a second. At this point in the evening, the projected winner of the Iowa caucuses has just started giving his victory speech. We will keep an eye on that as it happens. We will let you know if there's any news made in that speech, if there's anything noteworthy, something substantive and important. The reason I'm saying this is, of course, there is a reason that we and other news organizations have generally stopped giving an unfiltered live platform to remarks by former President Trump. It is not out of spite. It is not a decision that we relish. It is a
Dude, come on. That's pure utter bullshit. Of course you guys enjoy fucking censoring him. Like, don't even try that crap. Oh, we don't do it out of spite. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Come on. If you're gonna be censoring people, at least be honest about it. Don't sorry. Don't try this bullshit of, oh, we're not, we're not trying to do it out of spite or anything. Yes, it is. Don't stop. Stop it.
decision that we regularly revisit. And honestly, earnestly, it is not an easy decision.
And this is funny considering that they always end up misstating deliberately what he says and then tries to tell the public, yeah, this is what he says. And it's never, ever what he says.
But there is a cost to us as a news organization of knowingly broadcasting untrue things. That is a fundamental truth of our business and who we are. And so his remarks tonight will not air here live. We will monitor them and let you know about any news that he makes. Stephanie,
I was just saying, I believe that's why J.B. Pritzker is not afraid or not answering Joyce Gossett question. Because as much as that.
All right, so there we go. So that's why I am doing the President Trump's victory speech and his New Hampshire one, because the mainstream media decided, hey, sheep, you don't really need to hear this, and this is why people don't have any trust in the media at all. They use that all up in COVID happened, and then all the lies they decided to spew that. They used it up when not reporting the truth and on Russiagate. They used it up when Biden won, and they refute. They just election deniers. Every fucking person who loses an election is basically an election denier because they deny it every single time, even Democrats. Stacey Abrams, she's fucking denies the election. She lost all the time. So the problem with mainstream media is they've literally used up any credibility they had when they had it so much. And now they continue to lose more and more credibility. They're like, oh, yeah, there's a big issue if we end up broadcasting, this guy and everything. And then, they consistently take him out of context and they make whatever he says seem more than it actually is, or try, they just end up trying to do their best to ensure that you don't get the full truth on what is said. So, fuck you, CNN. Fuck you. All right, let's pop over and watch Trump's victory speech. There he is, in all his glory.
And most importantly, we want to thank the great people of Iowa. Thank you. We love you all. What a turnout, what a crowd. And I really think this is time now for everybody, our country, to come together. We want to come together. Whether it's Republican or Democrat or liberal or conservative, it would be so nice if we could come together and straighten out the world and straighten out the problems and straighten out all of the death and destruction that we're witnessing. It's practically never been like this. It's just so important. And I want to make that a very big part of our message. We're going to come together. It's going to.
I bet that wasn't reported by CNN in the slightest. I bet they didn't say, Trump, said, hey, it's time for unity. I bet they didn't report that at all. Now, I could be wrong, and they could have exactly reported this word for word. But I'm willing to bet they didn't report at all his call for unity. Just call it a hunch.
It's going to happen soon, too. It's going to happen soon. I want to thank some of the great people. We have so many senators. If I go through every name, we'll be here all night, and everybody's going to get angry at me. But the senators, the congressmen from Washington, they came down from all different states. I want to thank you very much. I want to congratulate.
Get your free Thomas Sowell ebook, Trickle Down Theory and Tax Cuts for the Rich.
Ron and Nikki for having a good time together. We're all having a good time together. And I think they both actually did very well. I really do. I think they both did very well. We don't even know what the outcome of second place is. And I see.
It ends up being DeSantis, just an FYI for everyone. And then I really don't understand what's going on with Nikki Haley, because now she's told, now it's a 2-person race. Yeah, and you're third. So is she dropping out? It's very confusing. Her comments are very confusing. I think everyone's very confused by them.
Carrie Lake. Congratulations, Carrie. Very good. I spotted her, I have to announce, because she's terrific. She's going to be a senator, a great senator, I predict, right? You're going to be a great senator. And I also want to congratulate Vivek, because he did a hell of a job. Zero, and he's got a big percent, probably 8%, almost 8%, and that's an amazing job. They all did. They're all very smart people, very capable people. I think most importantly, I want to thank my incredible wife, First Lady, I'll say former and maybe future. But more important than Melania, I want to thank her incredible, beautiful mother who passed away a few days ago. And she's up there, way up there. She's looking down and she's so proud of us. And I just want to say to Amalia, you are special, one of the most special people I've ever known. And that was a tough period of time for the family, but she's amazing. She was amazing. So I just want to thank what she's done for our family, and her husband, who's home right now and very lonely. He's a lonely man, but he's going to be okay. Victor, they're great people, great parents to all of us, really. Great parents, but also to Barron. Boy, did she take care of Barron. That's how he got so tall. He only ate her food. And I want to thank my family generally. They've worked so hard, and they've taken so much abuse for being good people. I mean, good people. But Eric and Don, they really did. These two have been working so hard, and they, they have another job also, so they have to do it all. But they've been working so hard, and I know that Ivanka is home and Tiffany's home. They're watching, and I know that Barron's watching. Good old Barron. I said, "You're going to be a basketball player." I said, "Well, I like soccer, Dad, actually." I said, "At your height, I like basketball better, but sometimes you can't talk them into everything." But he's a special boy. But the whole family is just incredible. And my sister, Elizabeth, who's just the biggest fan. She's just an incredible person and always supportive. We love Elizabeth so much. Also, we have a woman who took a big chance. In most states, we have support of everybody, the Congress, the senators. We had Marco Rubio. We had Rick Scott the other day. We have, probably 55% of the senators. And now they're all calling and saying, "We want to endorse you, sir." I said, "Oh, great." Same thing with the Congress, men and women. We have tremendous, much more than anybody probably has ever had in this position. And we love them all. They're great. They're really trying to do a good job for our country. But one woman in Iowa who really stepped up was your Attorney General, Brenna Bird. She really, really stepped up. Where is Brenna? Come here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Glad to do it. We need you.
She stepped up. She's going to be your governor someday, I predict. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll be watching, but she really did. She broke away from the pack, and she had tremendous courage, and wasn't easy. In some states it's easy. In other states it's a little bit more difficult. But we have really the support of the people of Iowa, which has been just incredible. Another man who was actually the first person to endorse me in the entire country. He's a state senator. His name is Brad Zahn. He looks like he's the most handsome guy, I think. Oh, you made it. He had to drive from his caucus location. You made it. I call him the Marlboro Man. Hey, Brad. You want to say something? Come on, go up. Say something.
Well, I'll tell you, I had to actually do a TV interview bragging about you. The reason why I was late is because of that. But is he awesome or what? I am honored to be the first person in the United States to endorse this guy. The next president, the 47th president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
And when he says endorse, we're really talking about 2015. He endorsed me before, actually, long before I knew I was going to run. I said, "Who's this man in Iowa? He's a senator." a state senator, is a good-looking guy too. Doesn't he look? You could pay him and give him a lot of money. And by the way, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for being here. You are so great. Comes all the way from Missouri, which isn't that far. You can't drive an electric car that far, though. Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much. The group of people that we have on the stage is just emblematic of the tremendous group that we've had. We've had such a great team. We did well. We were looking really good in 26. Just to go back to the senator, he was saying, I said, who is that guy? Brad, his name. Who is he? He keeps endorsing me. He keeps saying Trump, and I didn't even know I was running. He endorsed me 4 months before I knew I was running, about 4 months before the Escalade ride down with our great First Lady. And that was Brad. I said, who is he? So he was the first one. But we have people that are so incredible. Your Republican Party Chairman, Bobby Kaufman, and his son, who is a brilliant guy, and he worked with us. And I will tell you, that is a family of real professionals. Matt Whitaker, who is the very talented and very good Attorney General. Where is Matt? He's around here someplace, and he's been with us all the way. We have a man that was very impressive. And I say, there's nothing wrong with it. He's so solid and so good that he didn't catch on. Sometimes being a little controversial is good. He's so perfect. Although he did break his leg during the campaign. That wasn't so good. But it sort of stood out a little bit, Doug. But Doug Burgum from North Dakota, the governor, and his beautiful wife, Catherine, and he got out of the race. What people don't know is that he actually supported me on the other side twice already, right? Then he decided to do it, and he was outstanding. But the traction is never easy, right? You need controversy for traction sometimes. And this guy is the most solid guy. There's no controversy whatsoever. And he's one of the best governors in our country. And I hope that I'm going to be able to call on him to be a piece of the administration, a very important piece of the administration. And also, just to conclude with this, the entire Trump team, and that includes my two boys who are really here all the time, whenever we needed them. Whenever we needed them. They are great. Eric and Don. And look at all these people. Oh, Susie, I have to say. And Chris. And they want no accolades. They just want a victory, and they want to make America great again. That's all they want, actually. They don't want to be speaking. They don't want to have pictures. They just want to do their job, right? I want to thank you very much, Jason, everybody. You're really fantastic. What a job you've done. Thank you. So we're going to come together.
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not.
We're going to drill, baby, drill right away. Drill, baby, drill. We're going to seal up the border. Because right now we have an invasion. We have an invasion of millions and millions of people that are coming into our country. I can't imagine why they think that's a good thing. It's a very bad thing. I think it's a group of people that are probably larger in number than New York State. And we can't have that. We can't have that. It's not sustainable as a country. It's horrible. And they're coming from prisons and jails. They're coming from all over. They're coming from countries that most people have never heard of. And they're coming from mental institutions and insane asylums. They're being emptied out into our country. And they're terrorists. Many terrorists are coming in. In 2019, I saw just recently on a poll, they had none in 29, no terrorists. Now, I even say there's got to be some, but they have none. And then as soon as this group took over, they have hundreds and hundreds of terrorists coming in, known terrorists, some of them really bad. And many of them are in, and they came in, and nobody knows where they are. This is not a good thing. And we're going to have to deport. We're going to have a deportation level that we haven't seen in this country for a long time, since Dwight Eisenhower, actually. So I don't want to be overly rough on the president, but I have to say that he is the worst president that we've had in the history of our country. He's destroying our country. And, you know, my wife attended the funeral 2 months ago of Rosalind Carter, and it was beautiful. And Jimmy Carter was there, and I thought to myself, Jimmy Carter is happy now because he will go down as being a brilliant president by comparison to Joe Biden. He'll be a brilliant president. He's going to be known as brilliant by comparison. So we have to stop the invasion. We have to bring down our energy. We have to, you know, I say all the time, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation anywhere in the world. And we have to stop the crime, and we have to help rebuild our cities, and we have to rebuild the capital, Washington, D.C. I was there on one of the Biden indictment trials. You know, this is the only person this ever happened before, but I go to a lot of courthouses because of Biden, because they're using that for election interference. And it's on things like election. And I don't know if you know, but they did polls tonight on the election of 2020. Do you believe it was honest or not? 82% said it was not. And we can't have that, Chairman. We can't have that. You can't have a situation like that. So we're going to straighten out our elections. We're going to do a lot of great things. We're going to try and go to paper ballots as soon as possible. Voter ID, one day elections. You know, we have these elections that last for 62 days. And if you need some more time, take as much time as you want. And so many bad things happen. We have to get rid of mail-in ballots, because once you have mail-in ballots, you have crooked elections. Actually, Jimmy Carter's commission said that a long time ago. We're going to rescue our economy. We're going to save our economy. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. There was never a greater economy, and now we don't. And when you look at what's happened with inflation, inflation is destroying, you know, they call it a country killer. Going back hundreds of years, Germany, countries that had big inflation are dead. They become dead countries. We have to stop that immediately. And we want peace through strength. Russia would have never attacked Ukraine, would have never done it. Putin and I get along fine. We get along very well. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. The fake news, which if the fake news would become real and honest news, 90% of our problems in this country would be solved. They would be solved. So Russia would have never attacked. Israel would have never been attacked. The Ukraine situation is so horrible. The Israeli situation is so horrible, what's happened. And we're going to get them solved. We're going to get them solved very fast. I actually said, Ukraine, I know President Putin very well. I know Zelensky very well. I'm going to get him in. We're going to get it solved very quickly. Should have never happened. Would have never happened. Now you have all that death, far greater than people understand. The numbers are far, far greater than anybody would even think possible. You're going to find that out in the years to come. When they knock down these massive buildings in Ukraine, and then you see they announced 2 people were slightly wounded. No, many people were killed. Many people were killed. We're going to get it stopped. But it's so sad because it should have never started. People killed and a culture destroyed. You can never replace 1,000-year-old buildings with the most beautiful golden domes and churches and everything, just all rubble now. And it's so sad. Would have never, ever happened. And likewise, Israel would have never been attacked. It all comes from Iran, and we would have had to deal with Iran very quickly had the election where we, by the way, got, and I say we because it's all we got more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country. But they say we lost by a whisker, okay? But regardless of that, we're going to do incredible things, and we're not going to let China do what they'd like to do. I get along great with him also. President Xi, he's a very strong leader. And we're going to get things solved. We're going to get the Ukraine war solved. We're going to get the Israeli situation solved. But if you think back to that, Iran was broke. I said to every country, anybody does business with Iran, buys oil from Iran. They were broke. We're not going to let you do business in the United States. And that's the way it is. They did very little business, almost sold no oil. Nobody wanted to do that. That's a big penalty. And what happened is they had no money to give to Hamas and to give to Hezbollah. And in fact, there were a lot of stories at the time. They had no money for terror. And for 4 years, we had no terror. We had the terror ban. We had the terror ban. They call it the Trump travel ban, but it was really the Trump terror ban. We don't want people in our country that are going to blow up our shopping centers. Thank you very much. And we want a country of law and order. So we're going to rebuild the capital of our country, Washington, D.C. We're going to scrub those beautiful marble columns and get the swastikas off them. And we're going to scrub them and get the graffiti off them. And we're going to clean the streets and we're going to rebuild the streets. And we're not going to have rusted medians through the middle that are falling down into the roads where foreign dignitaries from all over the world come and they look. And we're not going to be riding on top of garbage like I did just a month ago, riding on top of garbage. We're going to rebuild our beautiful Washington, D.C., and we're going to take control of it, and we're going to make unbelievably harsh penalties for people that go around shooting. Last week, they shot 3 people, and every night something happens. It's so sad. And likewise, we're going to rebuild our cities, and we'll work with the Democrats to do it. I'd be glad to work with the people in New York. We're going to work with the people in Chicago and LA. We're going to rebuild our cities, and we're going to make them safe. And we're going to give our police officers immunity. So every time they do something, they don't get sued and stopped. We're going to end crime in our cities. In Iowa, you don't know what that means, but I'll tell you, this is a different place. You don't know about crime. You don't know about getting mugged and getting whacked and getting thrown into subways. And we're going to stop it. And we're going to come down very hard on criminals. And we're going to stop crime in America. So I want to just finish by saying that this has been an incredible experience. The people have been, this is the 3rd time we've won. But this is the biggest win. This is the, they said, well, if you win by 12%, that's a big win. That's going to be very hard to do. Well, I think we more than doubled that, I guess, tripled it maybe. They said, you'll never get over 50. And I just left and we're at 54. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with it, but they said, you can't do that, sir. I said, what's about the highest? Well, you could get into the 40s, maybe 40, 41. And then I looked up and, it was very interesting. I didn't know they called it early. I thought that they called it at about 10 o'clock. My impression, see this gentleman? He's dressed like a wall. I love this guy. He's been at 150 rallies probably, right? He has the most beautiful outfit I've ever seen. It's all beautiful brick. Will you come up here? Just come up here. Come on. It's so nice to see. Right? Come on up here. He's emblematic of what we did. We built over 500 miles of wall. We were going to add another 200 miles. It's much more than we promised. And we had the safest border in the history of our country. Now we have the worst border in the history of the world. Look at this, man. Congratulations.
Incredible to see you again.
Really nice. Nice to see you, man. You take care of yourself, okay?
Will.
Thank you. I love that outfit. I love him. That's great. We love it. That's a hot-selling jacket, by the way. So. But that represents what we did. No, we built a tremendous, that's the reason. And we got Mexico to give us 28,000 soldiers free. And we had remain in Mexico, and we had catch and release in Mexico. And we did a job. We had the safest border in our history. We had the greatest economy in our history. We were a great nation 3 years ago, and now we're a nation in decline. We are going to turn it around so fast. It's going to happen so fast. We're going to drill. We're going to we have great wealth. We're going to drill. We're going to use that money to lower your taxes even further. We gave you the biggest tax cut in history, and we're going to lower them further, and we're also going to pay off national debt. It's about time. It's about time. So it's now off to New Hampshire, a great place. We won it last time, and we won it both times. And we love it. The people are great. But the truth is the people in our country are great. They're all great. We love Iowa, but they're all great. They only want to see one thing. They want our country to come back. They're embarrassed by what's going on. Our country is laughed at all over the world. They're laughing at us, and they want our country to come back. They want America, they want us to be great again. It's a very simple. MAGA, make America great again. And America first. America first is a very important part of MAGA. So we're going to put America first. We're going to make America great again. Again, Iowa, we love you. You are going to, you just go out and buy larger tractors and more land. Don't worry about it. And to all of the people standing behind me and all of the people in this room and so many great politicians and great dignitaries and friends, I just want to thank you all. This is a very special night. And this is the first, because the big night is going to be in November when we take back our country, and truly, we do make our country great again. Thank you very much, everybody. Great honor. Thank you.
They killed my dog. You're going to get a new partner.
All right, there we go. So that was his victory speech. Now, what was so terrible that NBC couldn't at all show any of that? Like, what was so wrong about that? Could it possibly be that they're just terrified of the truth? But yeah, so I mean, seriously, what was so bad about that? About Trump's speech? I thought it was a pretty good speech. It's the best speech. All right, so wonderful. But yeah, so there we have it. So that was Trump's victory speech that CNN did not want you to hear for whatever reason. They were so terrified of you hearing that. There's calls to unity, his plan, nothing really too decisive or rude. I can't even fucking say the word. Divisive, maybe. But nothing too bad. Just a simple, hey, be proud of your country type situation. So I don't know. But anyways, let's get into the next one. This is his campaign rally in New Hampshire. We're gonna have that going a little faster at 1.5 speed, just because it's basically an hour long. We don't have an hour. So here we go. Here's Trump's speech in New Hampshire.
If you think that it was easy to get here tonight, you are wrong. In fact, the pilot said, sir, I think you might have to do it maybe another time. They said, I'm not going to tell the people of New Hampshire, I'm not going to be there tonight. This was a little bit rocky tonight, I will tell you, but I'm glad we made it. And that would have been a pretty big story, right, if we didn't make it. I mean, didn't make it. I'm thrilled to be back with the people of the great state of New Hampshire, with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots, which is what you are. As you know, last night we had a record-setting evening in Iowa. What a great place that is, too. The largest margin of victory in GOP history. Is that good? And the previous record, as you know, was 12 points, so we beat it by more than 30 points. So that was really something. That's a long year. That's a lot of years. So we were honored by it. They're really great people also. The whole country is great, frankly. And they want to see change. They want to see change. Because right now, our country's not doing too well. We're laughed at all over the world. This is not going to happen for long. But I do worry about 10 more months with these people, because they can do a lot of damage. What they're doing to our country is very sad. We were the first candidate ever to get more than 52% of the vote. We now have our eyes on a very special place. You know what that place is? New Hampshire. And I know that New Hampshire will never let us down, just like in 2016. You remember that? We came in here and we won in a landslide. 2016. It's time for the Republican Party, however, to unify, come together, and move forward as one team. We have to beat crooked Joe Biden. We have to beat him. Our country is at stake, and we need to focus on all of our resources. We have to put them into energy and effort and defeating Biden and all of these radical left lunatics, what they're doing to our country. We can't let it happen. We cannot let it continue. We're going down, and we cannot let it continue. Last night, I was honored to receive the endorsement of a man who has become a true leader and earned the admiration of so many patriots. I've been a friend of his, even though we were competing against each other. But I was a friend of his, and we got along. And he was saying he's a great president. I kept saying, why is he running? He keeps calling me a great president. but he's a fantastic guy, a very smart guy. He's got some tremendous ideas, and he's young, and he's got some young ideas too, and that's a good thing. So he has a big, beautiful, bright future ahead. Vivek Ramaswamy. Come on up, Vivek.
So yeah, like what people, in case you didn't know, Vivek jumped out of the race after the Iowa, caucus. He was, he's been down for a while, so it wasn't a big surprise that he decided finally to drop out. Clearly, Trump likes him and things he says. So, obviously, he's going to have some place in office. What it is, we don't know. I don't think it's going to be VP, as many people are calling for. I don't think that's where Vivek should be at the moment. Might change later on. But yeah, I think currently being VP is not the best plan for him. But we'll see.
Let's do this, guys. It's good to see you. It's good to be back to New Hampshire. We miss you guys. We're going to make this happen, and you guys know this well. You know this man. You know why we're here. Patriots across the state. We are in the middle of a war in this country. That's what this is. It's not a war between black and white. It's not between Democrat and Republican, even in a deeper sense. It's between the permanent state and the everyday citizen. Between those of us who love the United States of America and a fringe minority who hates this country and what we stand for. And right now, we need a commander-in-chief who will lead us to victory in this war. That's what we need in this country. You got to know you're in a war to win one. You can't win one if you're asleep at the switch, have your head stuck in the sand, like most Republicans. And I think that's going to require somebody who isn't bought and paid for, a businessman, not a politician. Anybody heard of that? And that's why I was in this race, but I'll tell you, the people of Iowa spoke loud and clear last night, and I'm a big believer that we, the people, create a government that is accountable to us, not the other way around. That we, the people, choose who leads this country. And so we heard we, the people, last night, and that is why last evening I met my friend here, we met in person, and I told him that I would endorse Donald J. Trump for President of the United States and do everything in my power to lead us to victory in this war. It is a 1776 moment right now. That's where we live right now. And you want to know, what does it mean to be a Republican today? It means we believe in the ideals of 1776. Ideals like freedom and merit and the pursuit of excellence, that you get ahead in this country, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions, and affirmative action, and DEI. We are done with the nonsense. Send it back home. It means you believe in the rule of law. And I say this as the kid of legal immigrants to this country. That means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law, and that is why we need to use our military to secure our own southern border in this country. That's what it means to stand for the rule of law in the United States of America. It means the people we elect to run the government needs to be the ones who actually run the government, not the shadow government in the deep state that runs the show today. This man is going to get in there this time around and actually shut down that deep state. Not messing around this time anymore. That's how we win this war in this country. And the way we're actually going to do this in the long run and win this time around is with elections we need to secure in this country for the long run. You want to know what needs to happen in this country? Single day voting on election day as a national holiday with paper ballots, government issued ID to match the voter file, and English as the sole language that appears on a ballot. And I'm confident this man will be the one to get us there. And this is how we get our country back. Not black or white. It's deeper than that. These are the ideals of the American Revolution. And you know what? We do have some enemies that we need to defeat on the other side, but we have challenges to address in our own party right here at home. So you know what? If you want somebody who's going to foist onto you to use your social media account, you want to use a driver's license to do it, to have the right to use the internet, this man's not your man. There's another candidate in this race who'll do that for you. It's Nikki Haley. You want to cut Social Security, you want to cut Medicare, you want to cut veterans benefits so we can fork over more money to Ukraine so some kleptocrat can buy a bigger house? Vote for Nikki Haley, not this man right here. But if you want to actually put an agenda that puts Americans first, to say that the moral obligation of your leaders is to the citizens of this country, not another one, there's not a better choice left in this race than this man right here. And that is why I am asking you to do the right thing as New Hampshire and to vote for Donald J. Trump as your next president, because we're not working with a lot of time here. If our kids are in high school before we get this right, we don't have a country left. That's what it means. We've been celebrating our diversity and our differences for so long that we forgot all of the ways that we are the same as Americans, bound by that common set of ideals that set this country into motion. We believe those ideals still exist. This man is going to be your next president to revive them. E pluribus unum, from many, one. And you know how we're doing it? We're doing it by speaking the truth at every step of the way. There are two genders in this country. Period. That is the truth. Fossil fuels are a requirement for human prosperity. Drill, frack, burn coal, embrace nuclear energy. Reverse racism is racism. An open border is not.
I think Vivek's like the first candidate, first politician really to actually say it out loud. Yeah, embrace nuclear energy. I think he's the first one I've heard ever to say that. So, good on Vivek. For those who don't know or actually understand, yeah, nuclear's far better than all the other alternatives. Yeah, there's a little, it's a little scary when you think of like things like Chernobyl and whatnot, but nuclear is actually a far, it would be far better for the environment than any of the other alternative fuel sources. So I'm pretty sure Vivek's the first and only politician I've heard. Really, I don't know if Donald Trump has talked about it, but but he's at least Vivek is the first one I've heard that actually said it out loud. Like, yeah, we need to do we need to look into nuclear. So good on Vivek.
A border. Parents determine the education of their children. The nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to mankind. Capitalism lifts us up from poverty. There are 3 branches of government in the United States, not 4. And the U.S. Constitution is the strongest and greatest guarantor of freedom in human history. That is the truth. We fight for the truth. We stand up for the truth. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what reunited us after the Civil War. That is what won us 2 world wars and the Cold War. That is what still gives hope to the free world. And if we can revive that dream over group identity and victimhood and grievance, then nobody in the world, not a nation, not a corporation, not a virus, not China, is going to defeat us. That is what American exceptionalism is all about. That is what we are going to revive to, yes, make America great again. Vote for this man right here in the New Hampshire primary. God bless you and your families, and may God bless our United States of America. Thank you, New Hampshire. It's good to see you guys. We're coming back and winning this in a landslide. We will not stop until we get this job done. Thank you all. God bless you and your families.
It's a good rally by Vivek. It's really good. I think I like Vivek, but there is questions about his previous past, as some of his views in the past and there was a lot of talk. It's like, hey, he's only doing this because he wants to be president. He doesn't believe anything he's saying. Blah 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 blah. And who knows? Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I think him being out of the race and going into the Trump administration, because let's be honest. Let's be honest. Yeah, he's definitely going to be in the Trump administration. He's endorsing him. He obviously went, even though he was talking all this about Trump before, I guarantee when he, was going to drop out, he went to Trump, was like, look, I'm going to jump out and throw my endorsement to you. I want a part of your administration. That was obviously the deal. That's how the deals always go. So yeah, Vivek is going to definitely be in the Trump administration. There's no denying that. But I think it's a good thing too, because we can kind of check him out and see if because you can only wear the mask for so long. For so long you can wear the mask. So depending on what position he ends up being in the Trump administration, we may be able to see if that mask slips and see if he's doesn't actually mean what he says, or we may find out, yeah, he does mean what he says, and then he'll be a great candidate for president next time around. So we'll see. But I like Vivek. I like what he says. So I really hope he's actually genuine and not just spouting the bowl trying because he wants to be president. So we'll see. We'll see. All right.
Thank you. Wow, how was that? Pretty good, right? That was pretty good. And he's a fantastic guy. And he's really, he's got something that's very special because he started off with a Zippo and he ended up very strong. He did a great job. I was actually surprised when he called because he was doing well. And it's an honor to have his endorsement. He's going to be working with us, and he'll be working with us for a long time. Thank you. And now for sort of the opposite, in my opinion. As you know, Nikki Haley in particular is counting on the Democrats and liberals to infiltrate your Republican primary. You know that. That's what's happening. You have a group of people coming in that are not Republicans, and it's artificially boosting her.
Yeah, there was reports of people that are actually Democrat who came, and because Iowa, you could change, registered same day. and vote. So you could switch your, whatever, register that day and vote. And I guess there was reports of a bunch of Democrats going and coming in, registering as Republicans and voting for Nikki Haley. She still lost. Iowa. So I mean, didn't really work, but that was the report. So that's what he's talking about here.
Numbers here, although we're still leading her by a lot. As you know, I watched her speech last night. I thought it was inappropriate, but because it's bad for unity, it's bad for the party, what she said. But you'd almost think she won. She came in third, and she lost to not a particularly great candidate, obviously, as you've seen. She lost to somebody that beat her by about 2.5 points, Ron DeSanctimonious. So I'll tell you, we have these two people. We really got to get back onto Biden and beating the Democrats and not wasting a lot of time with these two. They're supported by some people that you don't want to have support. And the reason they're doing it, and I will tell you, so we had a very interesting thing. We were making the speech last night. It was called a victory speech. Yeah, please sit down. And everybody can see back there. That's a big crowd. It's a nice crowd of people. We're driving in the snow. You can't see three front. I mean, how you all got here? I said, well, people show up, but they always show up, right? Because they love their country. But we were talking about a show and how corrupt the press is. And last night, it was amazing. NBC and CNN refused to air my victory speech because they are crooked, they're dishonest, and frankly, they should have their licenses or whatever they have taken away. They put on Nikki Haley. She came in third, a distant third, a distant third. And they put on Ron DeSanctimonious, who came in a boring second. Now, we don't talk about him too much because over here he's polling at 4%, so we'll save him where he seems to go up, but we haven't found that place yet. He's gone down a lot. She's not doing particularly well, but she had one phony poll. She walks around with a poll saying she's up in Biden by 17. That poll is about 3 months old, and it's a fake poll. And from every other poll, she's just about down in every election. We're up every single poll for the last 2 months against crooked Joe Biden. But people behind Nikki Haley are pro-amnesty. They're pro-China. They're pro-open borders. These are the people that are backing her. They're pro-war. We don't want war. We got out of all the wars. We beat the hell out of ISIS. They're pro-Biden, frankly. And if she wins, Biden wins. And if Biden wins, New Hampshire cannot win. You're going to lose, and bad things happen. We had the greatest country in our history. 3 years ago, we had the best borders. We had the best economy. We had no inflation. We rebuilt our military. We gave you the biggest tax cuts in history, the biggest regulation cuts in history. Nobody's done what we've done, and especially, frankly, for this state. If you want a nominee who is endorsed by all the rhinos, globalists, and demented never-Trumpers, they're a dying breed, I will say, like a guy like Rhino Paul Ryan. He was so bad for us. Liberal Larry Hogan, that's another beauty. Open borders, Rhino Charles Koch. Charles Koch, he spends a lot of his inherited money on elections, but not so much. But he has been giving Nikki a lot. He wants open borders. He's pro-China. He's not pro-U.S. And crooked Joe Biden's biggest donors, then Nikki Haley is your candidate. If you want that, we need strong borders. We need free and fair elections. And if you don't have those two things, and I'd love to add in, we need an honest media, because we don't have an honest media. The Democrats are supporting her because she's easy to beat. The Democrats are funding most of her campaign, and they're doing it because they want to run against. They don't want any more of Trump. How did they do in 2016? And then we did even better in 2020. A lot better. Millions and millions of more votes. They don't want us. They want her. They're really, she's probably their first choice, and Ron DeSanctimonious is their second choice. And I'm their last choice. And, but they're a party of disinformation. They see we're leading. Rasmussen just came out. Did you see that? Rasmussen, highly respected. They just announced that the nomination of the Republican Party is over. They just said it's over, that Trump won. Now, I don't know how they could do that twice. But I guess they looked last night, and they looked at all of the different states. We're beating her by many points in South Carolina. She's the governor of South Carolina, and she's losing by 50 points. That's not a good sign. And very shortly, we go out to Nevada. We're beating her by about 90 points. So we're beating everybody, and we're beating maybe more importantly, although we have to get there, but more importantly, we're beating crooked Joe Biden in every poll. We're beating him by 11 points in Michigan. We're beating him in all over. We're beating him in Pennsylvania. We're beating him in South Carolina. We're beating every poll that they take. And by the way, we're beating him very big in a place called New Hampshire. Have you ever heard of it? Have you heard of it? If you want to defend your honor, and if you want to defeat the radical left Democrats and save America, you must vote for your favorite president of all time, Donald J. Trump. The only way to stop the Biden lunatics and radical leftists is trying to cancel out your votes. They want to cancel out your votes. That's what they're doing with Haley. They love Haley because they're going to load it up with Democrats. They're not going to win anyway. They're not going to win anyway. They're not even close. But they're going to load it up with Democrats and independents. And that's not what the Republican Party is about. We love Democrats that want to vote for us, and we love independents, especially that want to vote for us. But it's not what the party is about. But you have to go in big numbers on January 23rd. That's Tuesday, next week, January 29th. I spent so much time talking about this because we had these tremendous polls, just like we do here in Iowa. And I'd say, please, it's very important. We have to keep our eye on the ball in November. And we're sending a signal. So even if you don't believe the polls, or even if you think we're 1 point down, we're not. We're like 30 points up. But don't believe me. You have to get out and you have to vote. I joked the other night. I got a little heat for it. I said, listen, darling, you're not feeling well, but I don't care. You have to get up. We have to vote. We have to, but I'm not feeling well. It doesn't make any difference. You have to vote. And I went a step further. I said, even if it means the ultimate, you got to vote because we've got to save our country. All the information you need is available at nh.donaldjtrump.com. Everything's available. So we do have to create the margins. We're going to be in great shape in terms of winning, but the margins, and I think that's why we got, I guess, 52%. They said it will be almost impossible to get over 40, and we got 52% last night, which is great. Biggest margin in history. Biggest margin, by a lot, the biggest margin in history. With your help, 1 week from now, we're going to win the New Hampshire primary, and then we're going to defeat crooked Joe Biden. He's a crooked guy. He's the worst president in the history of our country. He's the most corrupt president in the history of our country. And frankly, he's the most incompetent president. You're going to end up in World War III with this guy. But we're going to take back our country, and we are going to what? Make America great again. One of the most important questions is, and I'm having to answer it all the time, it's the candidate. What candidate can rescue the American economy and save the American dream? You know, you don't hear, when was the last time you heard the phrase American dream? You know, you used to hear it all the time. Well, you hear it with me, and you heard it 4 years ago, 3 years ago, but you haven't heard that term in a long time because there is no American dream. It's survival now, and it's embarrassment. And you take a look at what they did with Afghanistan, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. 13 soldiers dead. We left hundreds of people there that should have been brought out, the hostages. And we left $85 billion worth of the best military equipment in the world. And they're now one of the largest sellers of military equipment. They don't need 700,000. Think of it. 700,000 rifles and guns, 700,000. They sell them. They make a fortune. We left them there. 70,000 vehicles, many of them armor plated, costing millions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars. We left all of this there. We are like a country run by fools. We're run by fools. And we're going to take it back, and we're going to take it back quickly and methodically. We're going to win that election. We're going to go back into the White House, and we're going to drill, baby, drill, and we're going to strengthen up our border like we used to have it. Remember, we had the safest border in history 3 years ago, and now we have the worst border probably in the history of the world. There's never been a border for any country, third world, banana republic. There's never been a border like this. There's never been, where millions, and we'll fix it very fast. You know, all Biden had to do, you know, when he goes to the beach, because he's got consultants. We all have consultants, right? And they say, you look great in a bathing suit, Joe. And why don't you go? And so, I mean, I've never seen a guy go to the beach so much, right? And he has a hard time walking in the sand because, you know, sand is heavy. And he has an even harder time lifting one of those aluminum chairs that are meant for a child to lift, right? He can't lift it. And you know, if he would have just gone to the beach and left our border alone, we had the most secure border. All he had to do is leave it alone. We had the best people. The Border Patrol are incredible. ICE are incredible. All of the law enforcement is incredible. We love our law enforcement. By the way, we are going to get immunity for our law enforcement so they can't get sued. You know, in many places, I don't think here, but in many places, law enforcement gets sued and they say, go out, get your own lawyer. We're not going to represent you. Can you believe it? What they do to our law enforcement? Well, we're going to give them immunity. We're going to grant them immunity. We're going to take care of their problem. Under the Trump administration, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world, with record low unemployment rates for African Americans, Hispanic Americans. By the way, have you seen our poll numbers with African Americans and with Hispanic Americans?
I don't agree with the, you know, giving law enforcement just blanket immunity. There's a lot of things that, you know, cops do wrong and they should be held accountable. You shouldn't I hate qualified immunity. So far, that's something I don't agree on Trump with. But in his defense, you know, this is, you know, Republicans are generally pro cops, so they gotta, you know, you basically always gotta be, you know, pro cop basically when you're a Republican. But yeah, I don't agree with blanket qualified immunity for cops. I think, you know, we should be able to hold cops accountable when they do wrong. And with qualified immunity, you really can't. If they fuck up in any way or something, it's not very easy to sue them. You really just end up suing the city. But, you know, I don't think it should solely be on the city when we do things, you know, when we sue the cop for doing something wrong. Or, you know, if a cop's, you know, if a cop does something wrong during the arrest, it's generally blanket, you know, well, he, you know, was trying to do his job. He didn't do it correctly, but he was still doing his job. So he gets immunity automatically. I have some issues with that. But yeah, all right, let's continue.
Oh, we're gonna have, you know, like last night was quite a surprise. That's why they couldn't put us on. NBC couldn't do it because the margins were so crazy. But you know, I'm not that surprised because I see it. I feel it. We did great in 2016. We won. We did much better in 2020. But there is much more enthusiasm now than there was even in 2020 or 2016. Like, not even. But we did better with everything, and we're doing better with women, with Asian Americans, with kids with MIT diplomas. Of course, that gets hurt a little bit now. You know, MIT's been a little injured with the three people. Harvard, Penn, went to Penn, and you take a look at MIT. They got badly injured. You know, my uncle was a professor at MIT for 40 years, Dr. John Trump. He's the longest-serving professor in the history of the school. And he's up in heaven now looking down on us and saying, that's a beautiful place that he's speaking at with very beautiful people. But, you know, he would be very embarrassed if he saw what was going on with MIT and all other places. But whether you had a diploma from MIT or any of the great schools, or whether you didn't have a high school diploma, we had the best numbers in every single category that we've ever had. And we're going to bring it back there, and we're going to bring it back fast. It's going to happen very quickly. The lowest poverty rates, record high incomes, all of these things are what we had. We increased the typical American family's take-home pay by an astounding record-setting $6,000 a year, and they lowered it by $5,000 a year. Think of that. They lowered it. So, yeah, those two, that's a lot. That's a lot. I passed the largest tax cuts and regulation reforms in history. We did the largest regulation cuts in history. We did the biggest tax cuts by far in history. And, you know, they're coming due fairly soon, and the Democrats don't want to do it. That would give you the largest tax hike in the history of our country. Congratulations. Nobody cares about that, do you? Do you mind paying 50% more tax? Because get used to it if they win, and I don't think they will. I don't see how they can. How can you win when you have open borders, when you have high interest rates, when you can't get a house anymore, you can't buy a house, your education stinks, everything's woke, that's all they talk about. They go after their political opponents with the DOJ and the FBI, that's me, they go after me. I got so many court cases. I've been indicted more than Alphonse Capone. You know who Alphonse Capone? Greatest gangster of all time. He was the #1 of all time. Scarface. Did anybody ever hear him? He was a lovely man. If he had dinner, if he took you out to dinner, had dinner with you, and he didn't like the tone of your voice, you were killed, you were guaranteed. I got indicted more than he did, sir. But bullshit indictments, I'll tell you. You know what I call them? I call them, they're Biden indictments. No, they've weaponized the DOJ. They go after their political opponent. Now, this particular case didn't work out so well. So our polls are at record numbers. Like last night, we won in the history of Iowa. Nobody's ever come close to getting the kind of numbers I got. If I didn't get indicted all these times, and if they didn't unfairly go after, I would have won. But it would have been much closer, I tell you. I don't know if I would have made the trade. I might have just liked the position we're in right now. I was doing very well on that score. Did you see Fannie? Fannie from Atlanta. She paid her boyfriend, a lawyer who had no experience as a lawyer and no experience doing what? Almost $1 million. And then they decided to go on beautiful Norwegian cruise lines, trips all over the place. He was a very generous person with our money. And he was the guy coming after me. Can you believe it? And they're all, every one of these people. These are corrupt people. These are corrupt. And you know what? Forget about me. They indicted 18 fine people, 18 people like you. In some cases, elderly. They signed a slate, just like Thomas Jefferson did slates. They go slates, just like they did to me in 2016. They wanted a slate for Alabama that I won by 45 points. Okay, they said, maybe he didn't win Alabama, but I won by 45 points. They could have picked something that was a little bit closer, but they go after people and they want to destroy people and they're evil. And we're putting an end to it, and we're putting an end to it fast because you can't have that happen. You can't have that happen in this country. And most importantly, under Joe Biden, our country is dying. I mean, our country's in serious trouble. And I stand before you today as the only candidate who is up to the task of saving America from every single Biden disaster. And they're only disasters. What has he done good? Everything. I mean, think of it. You had no inflation. You had nothing. Israel would have never been attacked. Ukraine would have never been attacked. I know Putin very well. There was no way he was going to do it. You know, one of the reasons he did it is Biden, drove oil prices up so high, makes his money with oil. He was making a fortune. He had plenty of money to prosecute it. But even without that, because ours was much lower, we had $1.87. Does that sound good? $1.87. But they would have never done it. Israel would have never happened. You see what's going on with Taiwan. China wants to go in there. He would have never done it. President Xi of China, strong man. He would have never, ever done it. Just watch. As soon as it becomes clear on election night that we've defeated crooked Joe Biden, you will see your 401k soar, and you already see it. Every time we have a good poll, or every time we have a night like we did last night. Was that exciting, by the way? That was so beautiful. That was so beautiful. By the way, you think you have cold weather out tonight? That was 40 degrees below zero. If you had I said, don't worry about it, we're in a car. Oh, really? If you had to walk 15 feet from the car to the door, it was a very, very troubling experience. Your net worth will skyrocket as soon as we come in, or as soon as it's known that we come in. You know, last time when we won the election, everything went up, and they got the credit for it. They said, no, you have to go from the election. Don't go from January 20th. But everything went up except the gasoline. The gasoline went down. The gasoline, we brought energy down to a level that you haven't seen in many years. And, you know, in New England overall, but New Hampshire in particular, you have the highest energy prices anywhere in the United States. I hope you know that, right? We're going to bring your energy prices down in half. We're going to bring them down in half. And it would be nice if your governor would help, because that's something he could do. You know, that's something. It would be nice if he would help. You know, you do know he ran for president. He just didn't have the courage to say, I'm running for president. He was all over the place for months, running. And then after he got his highest number, about 2%, he decided to announce that he's not running, but he didn't announce that he's running. He ran without announcement. And honestly, that's not the way to do it. That's not the way. But you have the highest energy prices, this area, in the entire country. We're going to cut your energy by at least half, and it'll be done in the first year. You watch. First year. The next Trump economic boom will begin on November 5th, 2024. That will be an economic boom. And the only thing that they have now is a stock market that's going up, and it's only going up because people think we're going to win the election. I don't know if you saw yesterday. I felt very badly for them. China had a crash yesterday in the stock market. You know why? Because I won Iowa. So when people, it's true, it crashed. So when people say, "Oh, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China," and literally as soon as those numbers started coming in yesterday, they had a crash, one of the worst numbers that they've had in years. But what that's telling you, and I'm not knocking them because I get along great with President Xi and I love China, I love everybody, but they can't take advantage of us. But it tells you better than anybody with the words and all the words and talk, and that tells you what it's about. If I get in, they know it's not going to be so good for them. And we want it to be good for us because for years they've taken advantage of us. They've taken big advantage. But during my 4 years, it was a whole different thing. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars. I actually took in 28. We have some farmers here, but I just left the place. We get a lot of farmers. And that's one of the reasons I won. In fact, my people said, "Sir, don't be so confident about Iowa, please. It doesn't sound good." I said, "I got them $28 billion for the farmers from China. Of course I'm going to be confident." I went into rooms. I said, "There's no way you're voting against. I got you 28." I said, "You think Biden, when he's sleeping, he's turning and twisting and sweating in bed, thinking about how to get his farmers taken care of and how to?" He just goes out like a light. Me, I twist and turn thinking about how we're going to make our country rich as hell again.
That's funny.
It's actually true. Yeah.
I twist and turn how about I'm going to make our country rich again. That's hilarious.
Quickly end Joe Biden's inflation catastrophe by stopping his wasteful spending, terminating his Green New Scam. It's a Green New Scam. It's not a Green New Deal. It's called the Green New Scam. And tapping the liquid gold. So we have more wealth under our feet than any other country, but we don't use it. We're now getting oil. It's not even oil, it's tar. We'll drill, baby, drill is right. It's tar from Venezuela. We get tar from Venezuela. You know where we refine it? In Houston, Texas. And so if you're a believer in everything spewing, and I believe that, we all believe that. But if you're a believer, we are refining. It's the only refinery that can do the Venezuelan tar because it's a lot of tar. We have light, sweet crude. We have the best oil. We have the most oil, and we don't use it. And by the way, you could use a little because if when we turn on the tap, you are actually going to go down at numbers that you've never seen before. And you started seeing that 3 years ago. You were at a low number. Now you're at a number that's very, very embarrassing for this country to have. But you are the worst of all.
Yeah, I remember at height of COVID, where I live, gas was $2. That's how much gas was where I live. And I live in, I'm not going to say where I live. You guys probably figured it out by now. But no, it was funny. I remember this. Gas at the height of COVID was $2. Like $2. It was ridiculous. I was like, God damn. Oh, man.
You're the highest energy in the whole.
I miss that so much.
You can't vote for the Democrats, and you can't vote for the sanctimonious, but he's only at 4% or 5%. What the hell happened to him, by the way? Man, did he go down? Ron DeSanctimonious, did he go down like a... I don't even want to talk about him because I don't want to waste it. I do want to talk about Nikki because this perception that she's gone up. But I worked with her for a long time, and she was okay. Not great. She was not great. She's not tough enough to deal with these people. I will tell you that. She's not tough enough. While Joe Biden is pushing the largest tax hike in American history, he wants to quadruple your taxes. I will make the Trump tax cuts permanent, and we will deliver more tax cuts, tax credits, regulation cuts for New Hampshire workers and family than any other. We were going to, just before COVID came in, we were going to drill like we've never done, and we were doing that. And we were in fourth place, then we were third, second, first. And if you look at a chart, you'll see Saudi Arabia, you'll see Russia a little bit below that. You see a couple of others sneak in. I mean, they're pretty good. But all of a sudden, you look at this chart where we're like this, like, oi, and then I get in, and it goes, psh, we were doing much more than they were doing. When I left, which was ridiculous that we had to leave, but we had to leave. We have to follow the laws of our land. But what a ridiculous, isn't it amazing? They don't investigate the people that cheated in the election. They investigate the people that understand they cheated and go after them. But they don't investigate the people that cheated like hell. We have to have fair and free elections. We have to. Nikki Haley supported a brutal 23% national sales tax, which is a disaster, by the way, why she did it. And that's why some people call her the Nikki New tax. I don't think that's particularly good, but she did support. She wants a 23% national sales tax. And Ron DeSantis wants that also. He wants it to be 23. I think that makes them unelectable. I think if you have a 23% tax like that, I think it makes them unelectable. And there's other reasons they're unelectable, but I can tell you the greatest people in the world at misinformation and disinformation are the radical left crazy Democrats. If they think they're going to have an easy time with somebody, they'll say, oh, we don't want to run against them. They're so good. If they think they're going to get their ass kicked by somebody, they say, that's the one. We want to run against Trump. We want to run again. How did they do the last 2 times? It was not good for them. So we're going to take this country. We're going to turn it around. We're going to make it better than ever before, greater than ever before. The radical Democrats are looking to literally destroy our country. And sometimes you wonder, think of it, open borders. People coming in from prisons, from jails. There's a slight difference. Do you know what the difference between a prison and a jail is? Not enough to talk about. Let's put it this way. not enough to talk about, but they're coming in from prisons and jails. They're coming in from mental institutions and insane asylums. Insane asylum, that's a step beyond. That's Silence of the Lambs. That's Hannibal Lecter. Did you ever hear of Hannibal Lecter? They're being dropped into our country. Hannibal Lecter is coming in, lots of them. They're closing up insane asylums all over the world, not just in South America. They're closing them up all over the world, in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, in the Middle East. We're bombing Yemen. We have a guy who's in charge of our war. I read about it today. He's using a laptop from his hospital bed. They couldn't find him, Secretary of Defense. And he's running the war with a laptop like a child would do, like a child plays with a laptop. And these are the same people that ran Afghanistan into the ground. I was taking everybody out of Afghanistan, but we're doing it with strength and we're doing it with dignity. We were coming out and they were afraid of us and they weren't doing anything. I spoke to Abdul, Abdul, the leader of the Taliban, and we had a rough conversation. And after that conversation, not one American soldier was killed for 18 months. And then you had that disaster by Biden where they took the military out first. No, you take the military out last. You get your people out first. You get your equipment out, and then you come out. But they took the military out first. We have those same people telling us about wars in the Middle East. You don't need wars because, we built the strongest military in the world. We defeated, as you know, ISIS, 100% of the caliphate. Soleimani gone, al-Baghdadi gone, all of the big terrorists gone. We created a safe nation. We didn't have one terrorist attack in 4 years. I never said that during my 4 years because I say, I don't want to have it. And then the next day we have an attack. But we didn't have one terrorist attack. Iran was broke. I told China, I told all of the countries, anybody that does business with Iran buying oil, because they are really the purveyor of cash, but the purveyor of terror. They would give billions and billions of dollars out to Hamas, to Hezbollah, billions and billions. They say, anybody that does business with Iran, you're not doing business with the United States. Plus, we're going to put a tariff of 100% on all your goods that you send in. And everybody, including China, said, well, I guess we're not doing business with them. And they were broke. A congressman, well-known Democrat congressman, 2 weeks ago was on, I believe it was Deface the Nation. Did anybody ever hear of Deface? Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump on Deface the Nation. They just defaced it because they're dishonest, so they deface the nation, right? Or meet the fake press. But they were on Deface the Nation, and he said, whether we like it or not, Iran was broke. They were broke. He used that term under the Trump administration. They couldn't do anything. They had no money. They had to survive. And we would have made it possible for them. All I wanted them to do is not have a nuclear weapon. Now they're 38 days away from having a nuclear weapon, and these guys don't know what to do because they're incompetent. Our leaders are incompetent. They're incompetent fools. They're 38 days away, they say, from having a nuclear weapon. Once they have a nuclear weapon, negotiation is going to be a whole different thing. I was able to do a great job with Kim Jong-un. You might have heard of him. I used to call him Little Rocket Man, but he became somebody that we actually got along with very well. He'd love to see me back. We had a very good relationship. When the press hears I have a relationship with Kim Jong-un or any of them, they say, that's terrible. No, it's not terrible. It's called smart. You have a relationship. You would have had a nuclear war if Hillary Clinton got in. You would have had a nuclear war if Hillary Clinton got in. But we're going to turn it around. We're going to turn it around fast. You don't have to get into these wars. Look at what's happened in Ukraine. The place has been decimated. Many more people are killed than you read about. They'll knock down an apartment. You see the size of those buildings? They're long. They're like 3 blocks long. They'll knock it down. They'll say 2 people were injured slightly. No. Many people were killed. The real numbers will come out. And you're going to see many more people are killed in Ukraine than anybody thought even possible. Many of the numbers are massive. And the cities are just being flattened. They're being leveled. Buildings, it's their culture, the magnificent golden towers going up that are 1,000 years old, and all this stuff is just being leveled to the. It's so sad to see. This never would have happened if I were the president, and everybody knows it. And it didn't happen. People say, well, how do we know? Well, it didn't happen. For 4 years, it didn't happen. And Putin and I got along very well. It would have never, ever happened. I talked about it. That was the apple of his eye. There's no question about it. And he said, don't do it, Vladimir. Don't do it. We had some good talks, I will tell you, but he wouldn't have done it. And likewise, they would have never done the attack on Israel because they didn't have the money to do it. And they knew that there would have been a very big attack back. And it would have never happened. What they did October 7th, what they did was unthinkable, so horrible, but it would have never happened. All of these things would have never happened. Inflation would have never happened because oil caused inflation. Energy caused inflation. Energy is so big. If you make donuts, you need it for the stoves, for the trucks, you need it to distribute. Every business is not a business that doesn't need energy. Most of the energy is oil. And what they did with the oil was so bad. It's just so bad. And that caused the inflation. Now it's, you look at the price as an example of bacon up 5 times. What is 5 times? I mean, I looked at it the other day. But our food prices are up 45 and 50%. Our energy's up 50%. Everything's up to a level that even if you were doing well, you're losing. You're way, way behind the 8 ball. Well, we're going to all bring it back for you. It's not going to be complicated. It's going to go very fast. So I'm the only candidate who can withstand the vicious media smear machine. It's a vicious group of people back there. And the dirty tricks that the Democrats have in store. Because remember, if I wasn't running, they'll do the same thing to whoever it is that is running. And you watch, they'll wilt like little babies. They're going to wilt like a beautiful rose. You watch, there's nobody else could take this crap. I want to tell you. There's nobody else could take it. Just think of the field day Crooked Joe Biden and his media protectors would have, and they are protectors. They protect him. I mean, you see things that are so bad. I mean, he can't walk off a stage. He's looking for the stairs. Where am I? Where am I? This guy's negotiating nuclear with Putin. Where am I? They all grab him. You ever see they set Secret Service, by the way, is great. They run up to the stage to grab him because they're afraid he's going to fall off the front of the stage. No, the stairs all up. We got 3 of them here. One there, right? And he doesn't know that. And his speeches are not exactly good. They're very short, because you run out of octane, You run out. You ever notice he starts off, "Rah, MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. We're going to get MAGA." By the end of the speech, they say, "Get him off the stage. He needs another." Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to the cocaine? Whatever happened to whatever the hell it was at the White House a couple of weeks? That was a strange event. That was a No, we're laughed at all over the world. We're laughed at. Look, I know the leaders of the world. I know them very well. Got along with most of them. The tougher they were, the better I got along. I don't know what that is. That's maybe something a little sad, but they got along with the toughest ones. Maybe that's the best thing. But the ones that were weak and ineffective, I didn't actually get along with them as well. But they understood. But when you look at what we have here, can you imagine what they think when this guy walks into the office and he can't put two sentences together? And these guys are at the top of their game. They're all at the top of their game. And we have a guy that 30 years ago really wasn't very good, but now he's really bad. Now he's really bad. Just ask Ted Kennedy. Good old Ted Kennedy told me a long time ago. I was friends with him in Palm Beach. I said, "Ted, let me ask you a question. Who's the smartest guy in the Senate?" And he gave me an answer. I won't tell you who it was because I can't stand the guy. Okay. I said, "Who's the dumbest?" I got along with him because I did him a big favor in Palm Beach. They had a house, the Kennedy compound, a very rich family in Palm Beach. And I did him something that was a very nice favor, very, very nice. And for some reason, he never forgot it. He liked it. I liked him. He was slightly left of me, like by about 200 degrees. But he was a great guy, an entertaining guy. I said, "So who's the dumbest? Who's the dumbest guy in the Senate?" And he goes like, "Probably Joe." I said, "Who's Joe?" He said, "Joe Biden. He doesn't understand anything that's complex, like taxes, although he does understand, if you think about it, he does understand something about finance because a lot of money pours into his account." But he said, "Probably Joe." And I always remember that. It was a long time ago, 20, 25 years ago, long prior to his death, actually. But he said, "Probably Joe." Who's Joe? Joe Biden. So this is what we have. And now he's our president. And now he's our president at a reduced level. Okay, at a reduced level. We're dealing with the most complex and most powerful weapons in the world. And we have a man that has no idea what he's doing. And you'll end up in World War III. I'm the only one that can promise you that we will not end up in World War III. There's not going to be world wars, not with me. There's not going to be world wars. And we do that through strength, not through weakness. So what I want to do is I want to just tell you, it's very simple. We have to get out. We have to take back our country. We have a country that's in such bad shape. We have to take it back. Nikki Haley is a disaster. She worked for me for a long time. I mean, I know it very well. I actually put her there for a different reason. I shouldn't say this, but you had a lieutenant governor named Henry McMaster who was fantastic. I figured if I took her out of South Carolina governorship, put her someplace, any place, I put her someplace, then Henry McMaster, who was my friend and who's turned out to be a great governor in South Carolina, Henry McMaster would become the governor. So I moved her to the United Nations. And honestly, she was not a good negotiator. She was not a good negotiator. Now she likes to talk about when I negotiated with China. I negotiated with China. I did all of it. We got in hundreds of billions of dollars, and I did it. And she has a hit on Social Security. She wants to raise the age very substantially. You don't need that. We don't want to do that. And we have that liquid gold. We don't have to do that to our seniors. You earned it. You're right. Who said that? That's a good point. You earned it. You did earn it, and you don't need that. And the same thing with Medicare. They want to obliterate it. We're not going to do that. So I say this: get out and vote. And make sure we win by big margins. The bigger the margin, the bigger the mandate that we have, the stronger we're going to be. And I mean strong, not just for the next state, because the next state is Nevada, and we're leading by 90 points. So I mean, unless you had a catastrophic event, I think that's in good shape. And then we go to South Carolina, we're leading by, and then we're leading by everything, by everywhere you go. But I'm talking about November. We have to win. Let's send the word to the other side. They're very destructive. Remember this, and I say it all the time. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of our country, they will not have done the damage that crooked Joe Biden and this corrupt administration have done to the United States of America. So we want to send a strong signal. So even though we're leading by a lot, you have to go out and vote. You just have to do it. If it's cold, if it's hot, I don't care what the hell it is, you have to go out and vote, okay? And just don't sit back. The one thing, and they really did it in every speech, I started off by saying, look, we're leading by a lot, but you must go out and vote. Don't sit home and say, well, you know what? I love the president, but he's going to win by so much, because we have to show big margins. We have to show margins like never before, which is what happened last night. We have to show margins like never before, because we have to take back our country. And if we don't take back our country, we're not going to have a country. I love your state. There's never been a better president for your state. Your businesses were thriving. And frankly, anything they have right now, and it's not very good, is running on the fumes of what I did, what my administration did, but what I did. So we're going to get your gas prices down. We're going to get your taxes down and extended. They're going to, if they let the Trump's tax cuts, the biggest in history, if they let that float and go back, your taxes are going to quadruple. It's going to quadruple. We can't let it happen. So we have to win in November. But let's just start with your vote next week, Tuesday. You have to go out. You have to vote, and you have to give us those margins. And I want to thank you, though, because I said at the beginning, remember that in 2016 I came here, and you gave me a vote of confidence like nobody could have ever given anybody. We won by massive numbers, and it was an amazing thing. It was a great vote of confidence. And don't forget, I never did this stuff before, right? Now I did it. I know everybody, and I know the weak ones, the stupid ones, the brilliant ones. I know them all. I know the best ones. I went there. I said, how's this guy? I had to rely on rhinos to give me advice. I don't like that kind of advice. And we had great people. Look, we rebuilt our military. Think of all the things we did. Even right to try, medical. So For years and years, they wanted to get right to try, what's called right to try, meaning to try a medicine or a cure for a disease. The problem was nobody wanted it. The country didn't want it because of liability. Doctors didn't want it. The insurance companies didn't want it, and the pharmaceutical companies. But we have the best labs in the world. And people are dying, and we thought that maybe we'll do something. And, they come to me and say, we can't do it because if we do it, and if they get injured because of the medicine or whatever it is that they're going to be doing or taking, we'll have a liability. I said, these people are terminally ill. They're not going to get injured. They're dying. They're going to be dead in a fairly short period of time. They will sign something. And I got everybody in a room. I did it. I got them everybody in a room, and I got the insurance companies. So we got everybody with the insurance companies in the labs. I said, we're not going to count it on your numbers. On a separate set. They didn't want to take people that were terminally ill because they didn't want it counting. It doesn't make their product look good. I said, but look at it a different way. Think if it works. Then you got to save all these people. And that's what happened. We have saved thousands and thousands of lives with right to try. And that had to get passed by Congress. We had to get that through Congress. So I just want to say, we love you. I'll be back here for a lot because we want to win this. We want to win this state. We want to win this state. And now I'm going to go out and brave that cold weather, and I'm going to get back to that airplane. And then I'm going to go back to New York tonight, and then I'm going to go to one of these phony cases tonight where we have tomorrow morning early, nice and early. You know what I do? Here's my schedule for the next 4 or 5 days. I come here. I meet with great groups in New Hampshire. I then get on a plane late at night when it's snowing and freezing out. Wonderful. And the pilots say, sir, it's going to be tough. And I get there early in the morning. I go to a Biden witch hunt. And then I come here in the afternoon and I stop and we make speeches and we get you votes and all that stuff. But nobody's ever had to do this before. These people are disgraceful. They're a disgrace to our country. I want to just leave this. We are going to win on Tuesday at a level that maybe could even be bigger than what we just did last night in Iowa. And the greatest expression of all time, I think the greatest slogan, whatever you want to call it, it's called Make America Great Again. It's called MAGA. It's the greatest of all time. We are going to put America first, and we are going to make America great again. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
So that was Trump's.
If you have a utility meter like this.
So there you go. That was Trump's speech in New Hampshire. I'd say it was a pretty good speech. Very energetic. Very. The dude can talk. So I mean, fuck. What more can you ask for? Yeah. Fucking hell. But anyways, so that was the Biden or the Trump rally. What the hell? Anyways, so yeah, that was the that was Trump's rally. It's a very good speech. He made a lot of promises. Yeah, I remember the tax cuts. I remember how things were good when Trump was president, and I think a lot of people remember that as well. So I think he's got that going for him pretty good. But we'll see. We'll see on Tuesday. Tuesday we'll see. I think he's got it. I think he's got it. He showed a tremendous amount of love over for the showed a tremendous amount of love for New Hampshire. He's made some great points. I think one of the things that he's really he may have an issue with is the obvious COVID lockdown stuff, because he did initiate the COVID lockdowns. I don't think that's going to hurt him too bad, in all honesty. But it is something he has kind of a skeleton there. But I think it's worse for Biden because Biden kept it going for so long. And Trump can always say, he's like, yeah, I was, going off of information and I would have, ended it a lot sooner, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think he'll probably be okay there, just due to that simple fact where you can be like, yeah, I did have, started, I was working on bad information. Trusted, Fauci, blah, 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 blah. But I would have ended it so much sooner and we wouldn't have had to deal with it. I think he's got that going for him if, he gets caught up on that. But no one's really mentioning that at all. COVID's kind of like a Biden focus. It's a Biden issue. So I think that he's got that going for him at the very least. Anyways, so before we finish the show, Gonna go here, and we're gonna listen because Vivek has an idea. He has an idea. He went on Fox News after the rally, and let's hear what he has to say.
Look, we had a great conversation. I actually prefer to talk about policy rather than politics, Jesse. And so we talked about a number of issues backstage, which I've actually championed in this race that I do think would be beneficial to the America First movement for President Trump to take on. And I think he was very amenable to many of them. Opposition to a central bank digital currency, talking about certain pardons that I think we need on day one. Julian Assange included on that list. And so I'm not a politician, I'm a businessman, but I'm also somebody who cares about.
Now, if you guys don't remember, Julian Assange is a WikiLeaks guy. He leaked a bunch of information. I can't remember what it was on top of my head. But yeah, that's who Julian Assange is, in case you don't remember. I think it was, government based, like, hey, the government's doing this, if I remember correctly. And honestly, that wouldn't be a very bad one. I think if I remember correctly, let me Google this. Hold on. Yeah, a series of leaks of U.S. Intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning, footage of airstrike in Baghdad. U.S. diplomat cables. So yeah, he kind of exposed a bunch of stuff. So that wouldn't be a bad one. Definitely he needs to be pardoned as all those January 6ers for sure.
The details of policy and commitments. And so we had some great conversations backstage about that before I went on stage. And I think that you guys may have seen some of the rally that we had, and the response was overwhelming. And I think it's very clear who the Republican primary electorate is saying that they want to be their nominee. I ran to be that person. They sent me a very positive message, but the very positive message they sent to all of us is that Donald Trump needs to be the nominee of this party. And I think Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley would actually at this point do this country and this party a service by stepping aside to make sure that we're focused on not only nominating Donald Trump, but getting this country back and reviving those founding revolutionary ideals. And I think we do live in that 1776 moment right now. We need to win.
You're calling on Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis to drop out right now.
I am. And I do think that would.
I 100% agree with Vivek. Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis need to drop out, not because of whatever he's saying. The fact is they're losing fairly badly. They've been behind in the polls since day fucking one. Like there's no way to look. Trump has high numbers and he's been indicted like 50 times and he still has extremely high numbers. It's very pointless to be running against him. He's extremely popular with the Republican Party. So it's at this point, it's more ego than any actual chance of winning any nomination whatsoever. Trump is wildly popular. It's not even close. Everyone is loving Trump. Everyone wants Trump back because we all remember how good we had it under Trump. Trump was, by far the best president we've had in a long, long time. And I think, again, I've said this before, what Trump has going for him is he has something we haven't had in an extremely long time or at all even. He has proof. Look, here, this was how things were during my presidency. This is how things are now. And it's such a drastic and it's taken such a the worst stuff has taken such a downturn since our country's gone down to shit in the 4 years of Biden while things were great under Trump. And that's what he has going for him, really, is look, you may not like me, but you cannot deny that your life was a lot better when I was president than when Joe Biden was president. You can't deny that. There's no way you can deny that and be, would be able to say that you're a logical thinking person. And that's really something that Trump really has going for him. And I think that's helping him a lot in the polls. And that's why you see that's why he's so wildly popular and is leading so well. Like he's just got that proof where, like, look, you may not like me, but you can agree that, hey, you had a better life under me than Joe. And wouldn't you want that again? And that's what he has going for him. So we'll see. Yeah, let's continue with this.
Would be healthy for this country. And I think that, you know what, especially Ron DeSantis, at least of the two of them, will have an important role to play in the future of this country and leading this nation. I do believe that. But I think that the right thing to do right now is the people of
and Vivek has a really good point. Like, I like DeSantis. I like a lot of what he says and things. But look, he's young. He's young. And I don't mean that like as in he's not qualified or anything. He's doing great in Florida. What I mean when I say he's young, I mean he has plenty of time for another shot at the title. Okay, this isn't like, his last best shot. If he doesn't get it, he'll never get it type thing. No, he has a great chance to be able to secure the nomination now. And I think what would be best for DeSantis is for him to endorse Trump, because look, Trump's winning. There's nothing you can do at this point to prevent Trump from winning. Trump's winning. He's going to get the nomination. And for the country would be for DeSantis to go and endorse Trump and say, look, I know you're really with me. I know you want to be, I know you want me. I know it. But look, it's not in the cards this time around. So I'm throwing my support behind Trump. I need all my supporters to go and vote for Trump. Don't be stupid and, I don't like that my guy didn't win, so I'm not going to vote. No, go for Trump. I am endorsing Trump. Fine, vote for him, and we can take back our country, because that's what's more important. My ego is not what is important. It's what's best for the country, and Trump at the moment is what's best for the country. And I think that would be, the best thing. And that would really set him up for the next presidential election. Because, look, say you're a never Trumper, or you're not never Trump, but you don't like DeSantis, you love Trump. How much would you respect a guy who's like, look, I really want to be president, but I understand it's on the cards. I understand I got to do what's best for the country, not for me. So I'm going to endorse President Trump because that's what's best for the company. How, like, come on, let's be honest. How many MAGA supporters would be like, look, I don't like DeSantis, but I can, respect he's an honorable guy. He wants what's best for the country. Next year around, I'll vote for him. Like, I think a lot of people would. Maybe I'm just delusional, but I think a lot of people would. So if Vivek's 100% right, we need to stop playing these games, and both of them just need to drop out because they're not winning. Like, at this point, it's a pure ego thing for these guys.
Of this country through the Iowa caucus. It's the most grassroots process I've seen. I personally did over 390 events, built great relationships and goodwill, but the message they sent was clear. I think it's time to actually make sure we elect the right president, put America first, take the America First agenda to the next level. And you know what? America First, it's not even about Trump. It didn't start in 2016.
That's right.
It started in 1776.
You're right.
And so Donald Trump will be the right person to take this forward for the next 4 years. But we need to start laying down the foundation for this to live another 250 years.
All right.
And then some. And I do think that this is the right next step for us to take, which is why I proudly endorsed Donald Trump last night.
Well, you're
And I can respect that. I can respect Vivek for being like, look, I'm not winning this. All right. I'm not winning this. I'm in this for purely pride now. I am hearing that, the people want Trump, so I'm going to listen, and you guys can have Trump. All right. And I think that's something that you can, whether you like Vivek or not, you can at least respect. And of course, don't get me wrong. Of course he did it. Of course he did it after Trump's like, yeah, I'll give you a spot in my administration. Of course he did. Of course he would have been dumb not to. So yes, he got it. He got some. He's going to be in Trump's administration, of course. But I think that's something Vivek was always going to do, was endorse Trump, because he's been propping Trump up this entire time that he's been running, which I think was smart. Oh, all right. That's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Give me a follow on X and Rumble, of course, and Twitch and all that stuff. I hope you all have a good day. Check out my show for tomorrow. I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something tomorrow for sure. And yeah, so peace out. See you later. And you know what? Have a good day.